Hello lads and ladies, and welcome to this and welcome back for another video on the channel. Today we are back with more League One content. Now in this one it's going to be something a little bit different. We are basically going to do 7 or 8 minutes just rambling on about the League One season so far. What teams are doing, who's impressed us, who's not impressing us. What are teams kind of doing to kind of make themselves be known for a playoff spot? Are teams dropping like flies? We could see them in the bottom 4 sooner rather than later. All that in today's video. If you do like it, we'll make it a regular series where we do it once a month. If you are new to the channel, subscribe down below. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers. So let's start off with Forest Green, who haven't started this League One season too well, have they? They've only won 3 games. And again, 2 of those have come at home. The win on the opening day of the season was away at Bristol Rovers. Since then, they've kind of been draw, lose away from home. Now, although that isn't the worst of things and they're still not losing every game, you need to win games of football every 3, every 4, every 5 games in League One. Otherwise, you get sucked in. And that's kind of what Port Vale are doing at the moment. They're kind of like, if they lose 4-0, they'll go and win the next game 2-1. Then they'll draw again, then they'll win again, then they'll lose 2 on a bounce. So that kind of formula can kind of be safer than kind of win-win and then losing your next 6 games. So what Port Vale are doing is really good. I've been really impressed with them. The likes of Ellis Harrison up front as well. Darryl Clark is doing a really good job at Vale Park. When you look at kind of Morecambe, you kind of look at the lack of goals, and Cole Stockton has yet to score. I've been impressed with Phillips up front. I think kind of he's added something different. Mayer from the academy, who was on loan in the non-league setup earlier in the season, has come in and done really well for them, really, and been really impressed kind of what's happened there with his development. However, Derek Adams seems a frustrated man. There's no money to spend in January. I do wonder if Cole Stockton will be let go for a £150,000 fee. All of a sudden, you add his wages to that, you're looking at maybe potentially £200,000 to work with in January. And for a football club like Morecambe, it's huge. And Burton Albion are another football club that are improving every game. They're just drawing games at this moment in time where they have opportunities to win it. They look good in games up until they concede, and then the heads go down. However, 2-0 down against Charlton in the last game, they came back to be 3-2 up. Unfortunately, couldn't quite get that job done, could they? Accrington are another side that are just conceding goals for fun, and when you look at their form, they've lost 6 of the last 7 games. And it is a worry for them, that, because they pride themselves on not losing many games. They pride themselves on their home form. And in the last couple of home games, they've been overrun and overpowered. Look, they were 2-0 up against Bolton. They lost the game 3-2. Against Wednesday and Derby, it was always going to be difficult. But they had chances to kind of win both football games, didn't they? MK Dons have lost 11 games this season, and it's kind of like they only lost 9 last season. They've lost 7 at home. And for me, they're trying to still play the same way as they were last year. Last year, they had quality in Harry Darling, Scott Twine, those types of players. This year, the defence side of stuff aren't quite as good. They don't really can play out from the back quite as well. And they've got a lot of young and inexperienced players, but then they've got a lot of old experienced players like a Bradley Johnson, a Will Gray. There isn't a nice mix like there was last season at the Dons as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out. But I think if they can adapt their game plan, they'll be more than okay. Cheltenham and Cambridge are just above that bottom 4, aren't they? And you kind of think with them that probably Cambridge are losing too many games at the moment. They've lost 10 games. They had a really good start. They won the first 4 home games. And since then, they've been quite poor. They've only won 6 games all season. A great result at Wickham has kind of got the pressure off Mark Bonner since his rumoured links to the Rotherham United job. Cheltenham's point at Ipswich kind of takes huge pressure off Wade Elliott after losing to Overchurch in the FA Cup. They're a decent side, both sides, but they could easily be dragged into it this season. Bristol Rovers are kind of the really good or the really poor. They were unlucky against Fleetwood at the weekend. However, with Coburn and Aaron Collins and Jordan Rossiter and Sam Finley, who in my opinion is one of the best midfielders in League One, they're going to have enough quality to be in and around where they are now. Fleetwood, Port Vale and Shrewsbury are all kind of similar sides. They draw a lot of games. They get a win at correct time to kind of put the pressure off and kind of buy their managers a little bit of time. Darrell Clark's done a really good job at Port Vale, like we mentioned before. Steve Cottrell has done a really good job at Shrewsbury, although they've not won in 5. And Fleetwood have just drawn 10 games. They've lost 4, drawn 4. All of a sudden, if you win 3 of those, you look, oh, you're flying, you're 6 points better off. If you lose those, all of a sudden the pressure's on Scott Brown this season. I think Lincoln City deserve huge amounts of credit. I think this season they've been really good. Mark Kennedy's done a good job. However, they're living off moments, in my opinion. The win against Derby, the point against Sheffield Wednesday, 6 against Bristol Rovers, again going to Bristol City and winning. However, they just can't do it consistently enough because I don't think they've got the quality. I think they deserve a lot of credit for not losing at home yet, but they've only won once at home, which will be a huge disappointment for them because they win 3 more of those games, all of a sudden you're in a playoff race. Oxford United are just starting to come into form, aren't they? 9 points from their last 5, just 4 or 5 points off the playoffs. All of a sudden you win another 2 or 3 games and all of a sudden you're looking pretty. They scored 4 at the weekend and they were the Oxford United of old. They kept a clean sheet for the first time in 16 matches, and Oxford kind of prided themselves on winning 2, 3, 4, 5-0 at home over the last few years. Now, this group of 3 have kind of been together all season, haven't they? Oxford, Charlton and Wycombe kind of do at the bottom end. Now they're climbing into that top 12. Wycombe, again, starting to come into a little bit of form, aren't they? They have those 3 wins together. Since then, a couple of draws at home and a win last time out against Forest Green Rovers has made the table look very differently for them. And if they can carry on with performances like that, they're going to be in with a shot. Just are they consistent enough to be the Wycombe of last season, where they went on a 13-14 game unbeaten streak, where they were winning games of football regularly, they were drawing late on? Charlton just need to improve their away form. Only 1 win, and that was away at Shrewsbury, where they won by 1-0. However, with players like Ratsaki, who's got 5 goals to his name, Charlie Kirk, who scored a brace at the weekend as well, they've always got an opportunity to win games of football. They just need to be tighter at the back away, carry on their home form, because at home, they're electric at the Valley. Exeter City, what a job they are doing this season. Obviously, Gary Caldwell has came in and 1 win, 1 draw, 1 defeat, and through into the Emirates FA Cup. I was unsure on Gary Caldwell, but if you look back at where he's been, Chesterfield, it was always going to be a tough job there. He got promoted with Wigan, and again in the Championship, he wasn't really back quite heavily. And obviously been in Scotland, now back in the Football League, and it's good to see him get an opportunity like this as well. Barnsley were another one. They're only a point outside the playoffs, and they've won the last 2, but again, the previous 3, they lost 2, drew 1. Now, Barnsley could easily go and do that, and all of a sudden they've got ground to make up again. However, a 1-0 win away at Shrewsbury is a very good result, and I know Atkinson won there by 1-0. Going to Shrewsbury and winning 1-0 is a really good result because you have to be solid defensively. You've scored a goal against a resolute Shrewsbury side and you've got away in there. So it's a good result. Bolton. Now, they've only scored 19, but they've only conceded 14. They've got one of the best defensive records in the division. And Ian Evatt deserves massive plaudits for that, because last year they were a little bit open at times, especially away from home. Look, if they can open a back door and get a couple more goals, I'm looking at your Dion Charles, your Bob Valsons, your Athelions, those types of players, they're going to win games of football quite regularly. But to be 7th with Bolton Wanderers, who I tipped to be in the top 6 at the end of the year, and I still do, I just think they need to add that little bit more quality to get in there. But they're in with a shot, and they're so much better off than they were 12 months ago. Derby County are finally in the top 6, 17 points from their last 9 games. They only got 11 from the first 8, so a huge improvement. However, if they are kind of lose, draw, win, that is their form in the last 5 games. Now, I just want to see them win 3, 4 in a row. And under Paul Warne, you wouldn't back an eyelid against that, would you? Obviously, he went on an unbeaten run with Rotherham last year. I think it was 19 games without defeat before they lost to Accrington, and they obviously lost to Fleetwood as well. Got to get that in there. Portsmouth, again, losing the whole midfield. Every time they get a midfielder back, Marlon Pack is out. Tommy Lowry keeps going down with injury. Obviously, Joe Morrell's going to the World Cup. They just need to get through to January, get in January within touching distance of the playoffs, maybe 1, 2 points out or in it, and they're in with a shot. Because if all of a sudden you become 5 points outside it, they are playing catch up. And I just think with how good this league is, it's so hard to catch up. Peterborough United, brilliant at home. They've only lost once at home, and that is to Fleetwood, and drawn once at home, and that's to Burton. Otherwise than that, 7 wins from 9. Obviously, a loss, 3 wins, and a loss at the weekend to Exeter. Away from home, I do struggle to back them, if I'm honest with you. However, now you've got the big gap, because you've got a 6-point gap in between Peterborough and Sheffield Wednesday, then a point extra for Ipswich, then 4 extra for Plymouth. Now, Wednesday, for me, are on the best run with Plymouth. I just think they look really good. Ipswich at the moment are looking really good as well. Obviously, a couple of draws in there, and that's not up to their standards. They normally win games of football. So as soon as they can sort the defence side of stuff out, and I don't like when they bring Richard Keogh on, because I think they drop with too much pressure on, and it kind of like takes a focus on the whole game plan, really. So Wednesday and Ipswich are going to be an interesting battle to see who. I think one of those will finish third, and one of those will finish second. But Plymouth Argyle are on 42 points from 18 games. That is ridiculous. They've only dropped 12 points all season. They've won 9 out of 9 at home. They've won 13 games, are 14 unbeaten. And when they don't win games, they don't lose games as well. They're putting bodies on the line. They're getting a bit of luck here when you are top of the table. You get that bit of luck. But it's more than just luck. They've got a right team togetherness, got a great spirit and great quality shown. And throughout League One, anything can happen. Well, there's today's video. Just going through the League One season so far. Did you enjoy it? Let me know your thoughts on your team so far. I'd be very interested to hear that as well. If you're new to the channel, please like, please subscribe. We're just over 165 subscribers away now, so we need your help. Until next time, I will see you later. Thank you very much for watching.